Terry, say hello.
Hello.
Hello, everyone. It's Dale Danker, TW Local President, Local 514 here in Tulsa, Oklahoma. I want to make hopefully a quick video, and I want to talk about Article 14.1 rebid in the new contract. There's a bid coming up. It says the bid shall be 3 times yearly, January, May, and September. And if you get into the posting timeframes, this bid would come up, it would be May 15th when you would actually go to your new shift, days off, work location area. There's been a little bit of an ask from the company side this time. It has to do with trying to get payrolls lined up, but it also has to do with the fact that they've offered an hurry out and leave of absence, and here in Tulsa, less than 150 took it, but that's 150 that would be able to hopefully open up better locations. So putting it off from May 15th to June the 6th. But there's an issue because we are not in agreement on what the language in Article 14.1, what it actually means. So I want to go over that with you. So in the past, if you've been here probably 25 plus years, I rode up here 30 years ago in Tulsa. You were on a dock that was a shop number, and we rotated every 28 days. You just did that flip-flop, flip-flop, flip-flop. You could get onto another area within your dock, but it was a kind of a, if you was a structure guy, you wanted to go to systems, you kind of did your time in the barrel, so to speak, and when they eventually got an opening because a guy bid out or retired, and it kind of was like a gentleman's agreement who was up next and who wanted to go. That's how you moved. Current state, the concessionary contract that we're under is what current state is. So right now, it's going to switch to every 4 months, but it's been every 3 months. Everyone would fill out a preference sheet with their shift and days off, and then the company and the crew chiefs, I'm told, would go behind a closed door in a meeting and do, I like to call it 5th grade dodgeball. So they would go in there and pick, I want that guy, I don't want that guy, I want these guys, no, you can't have him, I want him. That clearly, in my recollection of how the contract was negotiated, and after I've looked back and reviewed the notes taken during contract negotiations, it's clearly what we were trying to get away from. So the future state of what's going to happen in 14.1 is now upon us, and the company still wants to, I got this straight from Mr. Olin when I talked to him Wednesday. I said, who gets to pick where the crew goes and works under? The crew gets to pick where they go, or the company? And he said the company picks where the crew goes. So they're still at dodgeball. We don't want dodgeball. And I, as a union rep, in the way that the airline industry is changing, the work demands of the airplanes, I'm not asking to go back 30 years and put us back where we were on a dock, and if your airplane was gone, you just played dominoes or cards. I'm not asking for that. I'm asking for what I believe in 14.1 says, that a crew chief bids his shift, days off, and location. Crew chief bids first and the crew bids second. So Al, if you would be so kind as to follow me over here. Terry Buck is working on what the bids currently look like in hangars 1, 2, and 3, an area here in Tulsa where we have approximately 1,137 AMTs in this mix. The company has been calling that, it was a business unit, now it's going to be called a bid area. It's a lot, so I'm not using that as my example. Over here, I'm going to use hangar 5 and 6. In Tulsa, we work on wide body aircraft there, but it also, because it's so big, it can take any narrow body aircraft as well. So we do a lot of drop-in stuff there. And so I want use this as our example, knowing full well that the bid in a shop, in the CAM building, the component area, a bid in a small shop, that would be a bid location. That would also be its bid area. It would be its bid area, its bid location. Your overtime would be, that's kind of what this ledger is here. How is overtime determined? Overtime is determined by the bid area. The low man hours is the guy, if they proffer overtime, low man hours up within the bid area, within all the bid area. How does shift swap work? Within your bid area, you can swap with someone. How does vacation work? The book says department. I could get a request into the, on the union side to ask what department means, but I believe department is going to mean bid area. So with vacation selection at the end of the year, within your bid area, by shift. Okay, enough about that. So, how I believe the contract was negotiated and allowed for, you get a bid area. In Tulsa and Hangar 5 and 6, that's one bid area. What I believe is that these white pieces of paper up here, I know the camera's a little bit away from me, but each one of these pieces of paper represent what currently happens in Hangar 5 and 6. There is a crew chief at the top of it with a list of mechanics underneath it. This is avionics. Some have a crew chief, some don't. List of avionics mechanics underneath it. This little ledger right here tells how many crew chiefs, generals, avionics, and a total. In Hangar 1, 2, 3, Al, pan over here a minute. If this was out in the hangar, this little section right here, no, that's not it. Al, where's the qualifications ledger at? Right here. Qualifications ledger. This would be in kind of a dark red shaded color, and it lists 1, 2, 3. Looks like about 25 particular qualifications. So I know after talking with Gary Peterson that at the line, they have where you can bid onto a roster if you're qualified. If that said you had to be ETOPS qualified, guess what? When you bid that particular roster, if you're not ETOPS qualified, then you can't bid onto that. So we know here in Tulsa, coming from our history going forward, where the company wants to get everybody fleet qualified, and if we go down to only 4 aircraft type of aircraft, I think it would benefit all of us to go get those qualifications. It benefit you and your ability to move around. So, what do I want and what do I think that the contract, how the contract reads? If the company wants to say that we want crews and crew chiefs on each one of these sheets, to me, that is a bid area, Hangar 5 and 6. A bid location would be 5A. What's your choices? Friday, Saturday off, Saturday, Sunday, Sunday, Monday, day shift. So the location would be Hangar 5A. It says it right here on this, right here on here. Dock 5A, 757 line. Station 0200, blah, blah, blah. Has a shop number, has a manager, has a crew change date, has the hours, it's day shift, has their lunch breaks and days off, Friday, Saturday. Has the supervisor's name. Right here it has a crew chief's name, and it has 11 spots underneath it. To me, the crew chiefs would go first. Their names would go at the tops of these, and it's not one crew chief on a crew and 16 people. It doesn't have to be one crew chief. I've learned this from Gary Peterson and Gary Scheibel. So here, 5A, day shift, Saturday, Sunday off. What do we have? We have one crew chief, a list of crew. Here we have 2 crew chiefs, a list of 10 AMTs. So in this scenario, the bid would show that there's available spots for 3 crew chiefs and equivalent AMTs. The crew chiefs would then sit down and determine by their workload how to best utilize the AMPs on that crew to go get what is given to them as a job assignment. So in this scenario, you would have, every one of these would be an available bid roster. Now the company says, no, 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 we are not going to do that, Dale. People aren't qualified, people aren't trained, we can't have that, that will upend the operation. So here's their scenario. Last time that I visited with them, they said, we would be willing to break it down into the bid area is hangar 5 and 6. We will split it in half, that's what that black line is. Hangar 5 over here, hangar 6 over there. Those would be bid locations. They are not willing to say 5A and then 5C, D, E, F, because they want to take the shift and days off patterns. Basically, they want to say, we broke it down into hangar 5 and hangar 6. You should be good enough with that. And we're going to take all these people that bid here. Hang on, we'll be right back. We're going to go in here, turn this light on. And then, in a little bit, they're going to come out of that little room right there, and they're going to say to the crew chiefs, here's your guys, and here's your guys. And I, personally, do not think that is the intention of the contract as we negotiated it. I have this contract book sitting right here I wanted to read from. Now it's trying to follow me, and I'm trying to move slow for Al. So in Article 14.1, it says ReBid, page 94, the M&R book. I don't want to set a precedence by agreeing to something with the company that I believe is a contractual violation. That sets a precedent not just for Tulsa, it sets a precedent for M&R in Tulsa, MLS in Tulsa. It sets a precedent, it's a ripple effect that goes the whole system. When you go to arbitration and the arbitrator goes, well, Danker, you agreed to that. 2 shift bids, you agreed to let them do something that you weren't okay with, and now you want to file a grievance and come in front of me and say you wasn't in agreement with it. So I clearly do not want to agree in Article 14.1 ReBid, paragraph F, the ReBid will be completed by the company and the designated union rep. For 514, myself and the elected officers are the designated union rep. And I'm not going to agree to participate in something that I think is a contractual violation. So, it also says in F, it has 2 sentences. One says that we'll work with the company to complete it. The second sentence says, the process will be as follows. Crew chiefs will be selected first, followed by the basic classification, selecting their shift, days off, and work locations within a bid area. So if you go back up to the first paragraph in Article 14.1 of ReBid, there's 5 sentences, 5. Maybe there's 4, I better read again. I think there's 4 sentences, and 4 times it says that bid area, work locations, shift, days off, work locations. Another one says shift / days off / and work locations within the bid area. So it's clearly written in there. Now, the company can say, we think that we're following the contract by giving you work locations, 2 work locations. My problem with that is the go in the door scenario and shut the door and come back out and tell the crew, this is who you're working for and this is where you're working. I don't think that that's what we agreed to in the contract. Now the company also says, well, we're worried that if we drill down this deep to this level, Dale, and I say, what do you mean? What do you mean, Al?
15.
Okay. Al's giving me it. I'm trying to not make it a 20-minute video. So, thank you, Al. When I went over with Eric Olin in hangar 1, 2, and 3 and looked at what Terry's putting up over there,
I said, this is what you want, Eric. You're already doing it. You're doing it. I'm not trying to take anything away from you. I'm not trying to change this at all. But it doesn't feel to me like the contract says, you know what, we're in 5th grade, we're playing 5th grade dodgeball, and when you want to go to the restroom, you have to raise your hand and ask for permission, and I'll tell you where to go and when to go. That just feels wrong to me. That feels like being treated like children. This is what they want. They're doing it now. This is 5A, 5CDF, 6A, 6B and C. Shift and days off. Days, afternoons, midnights. Friday, Saturday, Saturday, Sunday, Sunday, Monday. I'm not trying to take away from what they're wanting to do, but I'm trying to utilize the contract to give you the right to bid your shift, days off, and work location. And that's what I'm willing to say, that the day when June 6th comes, which is D-Day, that if I'm not in agreement with it, I will turn to the new contract, if we're utilizing that grievance procedure, and I will follow Article 33, Step 3. I will make sure that I do my due diligence, and I will push it to Article 34, System Board, or I will file with the old contract a 29D presidential grievance on everyone's behalf, because I believe what's up here on the board, the company is already utilizing these work locations, and I think that you have a right to bid onto them. So sorry for the long video, I just needed to get it out there. That's where we're at on the bid that's coming up in May, which will be June the 6th. We'll see if the company, like I said, I'm not trying to take anything away from them, but I think you have a right to pick your position on these sheets, not them behind the closed door. You guys have a wonderful weekend if you have it off. If you don't, when you do have your days off, have a wonderful weekend. The weather's getting a lot nicer. Hopefully we can get outside, protect yourself. We do not have any known additional COVID-19s here in Tulsa. For those of you watch it outside of Tulsa, seems to be like it's on the downtick, and I hope it stays that way. So thank y'all for listening. Always subscribe. We got over 1,000, and I appreciate that. Y'all have a good day.